Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mike Nierychlo Online. So today's show, I've got a special guest with me today. Is Sam Kirk, good friend of mine. Sam is a blogger as well, and I mean a lot of you media people watching me blog online. Sam's been blogging a lot longer than I have, and he runs, what's a website, Langley Politics?
LangleyPolitics.com.
And you've got one of yourself as well.
And I do SamuelKirk.com as well.
It's Sam at Large or something,
Sam at Large, yeah. It was sort of one of those that name started off, like, I don't know, a while back. I couldn't figure out, it was like my first blog on Zanga many years ago. Yeah. And I couldn't think of a name, and I came up with Sam at Large because it seemed, I don't know, witty or something.
Seemed witty or something. Okay, so tell us a little about your Langley Politics blog.
Well, LangleyPolitics.com, we actually started that. It wasn't even a blog when we started it. It was actually a website. And my friend, Langley Township Councillor Jordan Bateman, and I started this. It was before he was elected, and we just both really liked politics, and we actually were inspired by wrestling, of all things.
By wrestling?
Wrestling websites.
Tell us about that.
Now, wrestling websites are kind of crazy. It's like, these fan-based websites, and before blogs and there was commenting and all that sort of stuff, you'd get like these crazy fanboys who would write articles where they'd start up like, very sort of grassroots websites, and they would talk about the storylines of wrestling. They all know it's fake, but it's just that they liked, it was almost them, it was like soap opera digest for geeks who live in their mother's basements. So, awesome. But anyway, we just loved the passion that some of these people did. We thought, wouldn't that be really hilarious if we did a website that was sort of like that? So Jordan and I decided to start this website, and it wasn't even a blog thing because Blogger wasn't even around. And we started, he would write an article one day, and I would write an article next day. And we wrote anonymously for a while, but we both found out, number one, it darn near killed us. The pace of it, because we're working full-time jobs, but we're trying to write these like 5 to 1,000 word posts every day, and it was like trying to come up with something, and it's it's about Langley, So I love Langley. I've lived here a long time, but it's you can only talk about so much. You're better for short bursts, but that wasn't really the format. But we ended up having to stop for our employers. We both realized that we couldn't do the blog, and but when we both ended up leaving those employers, at that point I get this email saying, have you seen this thing called Blogger? And we're like, what is this? And it was really like instant posting to the internet?
Yeah, how handy is that?
What is this? And it was like, this will change the world! and it did.
It essentially has.
Yeah, so that's what we decided we would change our blog over to, or the website over to a blog, and it's been great. So we've had hundreds of thousands of views over the last like 5, 6, 7 years, and probably 5,000 comments. So and it's become the way that Jordan in his elected life has been able to communicate with the constituents really, really easily and quickly. So and it's just fun. We just and I post a little bit less than he does. He's actually a writer by trade. And but it's become quite popular. So
awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Sam brought some beer with him today, and you know what I say. I love beer. I love wine. I love spirits. Now, something I've said on often occasions, it's not about what you're drinking. It's not necessarily about the quality. I mean, like I said, you'll see me bring high-end beers, low-end beers, really nice wines, mediocre wines, but it's about who you're drinking it with and the time you're having. If you're at a barbecue with friends and family, it really doesn't matter what schloss you're drinking. It's going to be good because you're with the right people. I mean, Sam's a believer in that as well. Subject by the beers he brought with him.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us about what you brought?
Well, this is funny because up until probably about a year and a half ago, I would always drink really decent beer, good beer. I mean, I love a lot of the stuff from Europe. Big fan of Guinness. I love dark beers.
Something to say.
But if I'm going to have something here, I was never going to buy a run-of-the-mill mainstream brewery like a Molson Canadian or Labatt's Blue or Kokanee. I don't mind, but just some of those run-of-the-mill ones, I'm never really a big fan. I really like the craft brew or the microbrew or some of the stuff from that you couldn't easily get here. So that would be normally what I would drink.
Something smaller where someone's really putting a lot of effort into it.
But one of my roommates in the summer came home with an 8-pack. Now they come in 8-packs, not 6-packs, an 8-pack of Lucky Lager. And I was like, are you kidding me? Lucky Lager? But the thing is, I had never had Lucky Lager before. So I cracked one open. It was a hot summer's day. It was like that heat wave we had last year in the summer of 09. And
in Langley, of all places.
Of all places. I mean, it was like 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It was just brutal. He comes home with this Lucky. It was like the nectar of the gods. It was so good, right?
Exactly. Right place, right time, right beer.
So he and I ended up drinking quite a bit of Lucky over the summer. And I don't know what it was, but it's like, you know what? it's not a bad beer.
Yeah.
So, and the funny history about it, and all three of these, and the other one I've got is Pilsner. So Lucky is actually brewed by Labatt's in Canada.
Yeah.
Pilsner, this is an old classic with the illustration on the front. This is originally from Lethbridge,
Is
Alberta.
it a locomotive or something like that?
Yeah, there's a train and a biplane and rabbits and native
what have you. Yeah.
First Nations, Canadian Indians or whatever, I don't know. And it's classic sort of thing, and Molson even kind of messed with the artwork, and they got universally derided by it. The other one that I got was an American classic, Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yeah.
So this, yeah, my idea was that, you know what, so these are okay when you're like, and it's a hot day outside and you want a beer.
Yeah.
You can buy the really expensive stuff and it'll taste great. But sometimes you just want to have like a few because it's hot out and you want to have
if you're
something.
digging a ditch or chopping some lumber,
exactly,
or mowing the lawn or whatever.
Does it matter?
No.
Does it really matter if it's like, you know, that $20 for a 6-pack? No.
Exactly.
I'm gonna spend, you know, $11.95 for an 8-pack.
It'll be cold.
It'll be cold and it'll taste good. So anyway,
all right. Well, let's taste them. Let's
cool.
Try them
all right,
out.
perfect. So the first one I think we'll do is we'll do the Pilsner. So this one's kind of a classic.
Awesome.
All right.
In a can.
In a can. So you gotta get the crack sound. So here we'll just put in a little bit in here.
Perfect.
People are gonna kill me for pouring it straight like that.
No problem. Well, surprisingly, I mean, if you saw my previous beer episode with Michael Ratchin, none of the beers had any of a head on them. So Pilsner has something going on for a head. I mean, it could have to do with the good pour that Sam just did. So here's to
hey, cheers. All right, excellent.
So Pilsner. Yeah, it's tricky to find anything on something like this, but actually, it's got a slight like lemon or something. Almost like lemon freshener.
Yeah, and you know, my nose, I wouldn't say my nose is that great, but you know, it's certainly very, it's alive. Like it's not like a dead smelling.
You're not just smelling a glass of
water.
Yeah,
exactly, yeah.
There is something coming out. It's got a nice beer aroma.
You know what? It is kind of citrusy, actually.
Yeah, it is citrusy. It's got a nice fizz to it, like a bit of CO2 trapped in it too. It's a bit citrusy, almost more lime than lemon, actually, I would say. And it's very refreshing.
Yeah.
It's refreshing. It's light, it's very simple, very easy. No depth of layers or anything like that. No complexities.
No.
But on a hot day and it's cold, it's perfect.
Yeah. I mean, what else do you need, right?
I'll put this here so we're not going to get too canned on this.
Exactly.
So that's the Pilsner. A little bit of something with something. But like Sam said, nice, simple, easy to drink. I'm sure lots of people have seen Pilsner around.
Yeah, and you know, the resurgence in this is actually really quite interesting in terms of the marketing. Now, because I'm a communications guy, I do communications work and graphic design and marketing and that sort of thing. And one of the things that's interesting about this is there's actually a website for this. So if you actually go to, maybe it's on here, but if you go to Molson.com, you can actually go to the Pilsner website, and it's called, I think it's oldstylepilsner.com. I think it might be. I was checking it out this morning. But really kind of a cool site, but now they've also got all the merchandise. So t-shirts, hats, what you name it, you can get the stuff. But it's all kind of very retro looking.
We'll find it and I'll put a link below.
Yeah, because it's kind of neat. It's interesting how this is kind of researched.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Cool. What's the next one?
Next one was Lucky Lager. Lucky Lager. This was the classic. I think, you know, this is probably a little bit of a, I don't know, it's been around for a long time, since probably the 30s or 30s or 40s or sort of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
In the 50s, it was bought by, it kind of went through a bunch of changes, but it was bought by Labatt's, brewed in Victoria, British Columbia for a number of years until Labatt's closed that brewery. It's now brewed in Edmonton.
Okay.
But it's kind of got an old history to it. A lot of Americans know the brand. Yeah. And if you do a search on the internet, Google images, and look for Lucky Lager, you'll see all sorts of old, you know, artwork and stuff like that. Cool. So, yeah.
Go for it. Well, light in color, just like the Pilsner.
Yeah, pretty similar.
Yeah, similar light beer color.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can. There's not a lot going on there for depth of color.
No, and you know, it's. I think it is quite.
Whoa, that's got a different nose to it.
It does.
This is kind of citrusy. This is a lot more.
Hops.
Well, yeah, it's got some hops to it a little bit.
I had to do that. My girlfriend she doesn't really know. She can't really tell the difference between some of the beers. So I once gave her a beer and she was like, I said, "You notice the difference?" And she went, "Hops." Anyway,
but you do get a real hops coming through this. But you know what it reminds me of? There's a slight yeasty play coming through.
Yeah, kind of bready, which actually makes sense. Bread does make sense. I mean, it's yeast, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's got definitely almost like well, I wouldn't say freshly baked bread. If you took that freshly baked loaf and left it on the counter for about 3 days, that's what I'm smelling.
It's a bit mellower in taste. 2.
Oh wow.
Not quite as
Unfortunately,
bright.
actually, yeah, Pilsner's, it's bright, kind of like we said, we had that searching, but the lime citrus,
Yeah.
this is extremely watery.
Yeah.
There's really not much going on. So on a cold day, so far, I would take the Pilsner over the Lucky Lager.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really not much going on.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty light and watery. I can see that being like the 14-year-old kid sneaking into a party beer and getting canned off. It's really easy to drink.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right.
Now we've got and I want to show this to you close up. As opposed to deep beer, dark beer, stout, it just says strong beer.
Which it really actually is. This was surprising. It's a classic Pabst Blue Ribbon. I mean, it's been around since the dawn of time, I think, maybe. But
the dinosaurs roamed.
Yeah, the roads, and they grew. That's exactly right. In fact, they may have gone extinct because of Pabst Blue Ribbon. We're not sure. But apparently, this was like, it was brewed in Milwaukee, classic brewing town. You know, where old Milwaukee, which funny enough, the guy in the liquor store was buying a 15 case ahead of me today, which was pretty funny. But I guess they people had said that they were 1844. It says right on the can. Isn't that nice? They think they won a prize. This is the mythology in this, and so therefore they called it Pabst Blue Ribbon because it won a prize or whatever. At one time they said it was kind of America's best beer or something.
Oh, okay.
So anyway,
well,
but this is a lot. It's a bit darker.
Yeah, a bit.
A bit darker, and it's actually got a way different taste to it.
Huh.
I find.
Than the other two.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting. Whoa. Okay. Do we have another glass? If you combined the two of these, that's what this is.
It's kind of like this one. Yeah, yeah.
You get the lime, a little bit of lemon citrus, and some breadiness. This one's got a pleasant nose to it, actually. I mean, it's not like your big dark stout, but it's got. Yeah. This has also got a little bit of that CO2 to it, a little bit of fizz, keeps it refreshing.
It's kind of got a bit like I don't know, I can't, it's like, it's got like a browner sort of flavor.
Here's a disclaimer,
like,
just for you, Sam.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as technical terms when describing a drink.
Okay,
whatever
perfect.
you see it as, if you this tastes like craft dinner to me, just
right,
it tastes like craft dinner
to
me.
And I kind of always think of citrusy sort of stuff like the Pilsner being quite bright in color kind of thing. This one I'd say is like a way more of a mellow sort of flavor to it.
But it does have a fair amount of flavor to it. I can't say a lot of flavor, but it has a fair amount.
More flavor than the Lucky, eh?
Yeah, but it's softer. Like this, all of these are warm right now too, just so you know. And even warm, this is not foul. It's clean and smooth.
Right.
And yeah, softer is a good description of it. Yeah, it's got a slight savoriness to it.
Yeah, and it's got a bit of kick at the end.
Yeah,
like the back of the throat.
This would be really. What's the alcohol percentage? Is it higher? Or is it the same?
You know what?
5.9.
Oh yeah, it is a bit higher. These both are 5.
This would be awesome on a hot day. This would be awesome on a hot day. It's got nice flavor to it. It's got decent.
It might be the kind of thing that you can marinate something in as well.
Oh.
It's got something a little bit richer than that. Like I wouldn't do with one of these because it's almost too cheap kind of thing. Yeah. And it's too watery. But this would actually be something.
Like a wicked beer. Like if you, this is one thing I love to do camping. Take a beer, pour it over some just fresh chicken breast, throw some salt and pepper on it, and some lemon slices or something like that, and then let it sit for like 6 hours, 8 hours, and then barbecue the snot out of it.
And if you did one of those barbecue chickens where you put the can in and then let it just roasts and stuff like that, that would be also probably a good beer to do that with.
That would work really well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that's it for Sam's beers. Thanks for coming out, Sam.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me here, Mike.
Yeah, for sure. Down below, if you look, I'll have links for Sam's Langley Politics and his blog as well. You can check them out and get to know Sam a little bit. And so next time it's a really hot day and you're looking for something good and cold to drink, what do we agree on? What do you think is the one?
You know what? This was actually pretty good. This one is just like, if you want something cheap and you want it, and it's a hot day, go for it. Yeah. This one actually, I think, you know what? I think I like this one.
That's probably the most refreshing.
Yeah.
The Pilsner, I think wins in this case.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for watching today, and we'll see you on the next episode.